So here's a little bit more on the dream. The reason I'm talking so much about it is because it's a very important concept to understand. The dream is a huge intellectual idea to understand. And so the more I talk about it, hopefully the more you will be able to accept the fact that this might be a dream. It really might be a dream. So a couple of things happened here when we started experiencing separation and we started entering into these bodies. First of all, because we're separate, two things started happening. We started experiencing one, fear. Fear, why? Because now we're on our own. We're these tiny, small, separate things in a world full of all kinds of other separate things. And because of that desire and lack that's built into this world, that means all of those things out there lack something and they desire it and they want it from you. And so now it's time to be very afraid, because not only do they want it from you, but you want it from them. So the only way to get anything here is to take it from somebody else. And that is one of the laws of chaos that the Course talks about later on. But for right now, the idea of fear is a really hefty part of this world. We are scared of everything. We're afraid of other people. We're afraid of our significant others. We're afraid of animals. We're afraid of sickness. We're afraid of aging. We're afraid of everything. We're afraid of walking down the street. We're afraid our house is just going to blow up for some reason because of a gas leak. You know, it doesn't matter what we're afraid of, because we're making it up. We're going to make it up. We are focusing on things to be afraid of, and we are making it up. For instance, and I'll give you an example here. Right now in this country, when I say right now, it's actually been going on forever, there is a lot of talk about racism. And racism is not a problem. Racism is a symptom of a problem. Racism is a symptom of fear. Fear of anything that's different. White people are afraid of black people. Asian people are afraid of whatever. Healthy people are afraid of sick people. They don't like seeing them. It doesn't matter who you are on the planet, what color your skin is, or what condition you're in, you are afraid of other people. And you have personally decided what those people are that you're afraid of. You've decided you're afraid of people with short white hair. It doesn't matter. It makes absolutely no difference, because whatever person or group of people that you have decided to be afraid of, you have every reason in the world to be afraid of them, and you have justified it in your mind. And that's what racism is. It's a fear of anybody different. And so to think that one race of people is responsible for racism is really avoiding the problem. And to me, that's what is called an ego distraction. It's skipping around the problem because we really don't want to deal with the fact that all of us are afraid of anything that's different from us, because that's what specialness is. Specialness is difference, and difference means judgment. So we're going to judge anybody who's different, and we're going to find them lacking. We're going to find them inferior to us, no matter who they are, whoever you choose. You're going to find them inferior, because that's how you feel temporarily better about yourself. Unfortunately, that feeling only lasts 5 seconds, and then you have to do it again. And you have to continue it and keep it going and perpetuate it and pass it on to your children. And that's how racism continues, because it's fear. fear of anything, anyone different from you. So the other thing that we experience here besides fear is guilt. Guilt because deep down inside, all of us know what we have done. We have thrown God away and usurped his throne. We have taken over as creator. And that is a terrible thing for us to know. Deep down inside, we feel terrible about it. However, the good news is we don't want to feel terrible about it. So what we do is we stuff it down. All the things that are rotten about ourselves, we stuff them down into our subconscious. Now, I'll probably say this again, but we stuff things down into our subconscious for one simple reason. We don't want to acknowledge that that's what we really believe or feel. Why do you think we have a subconscious mind? It's subconscious. It's beneath our consciousness. We don't even know it's there. So all of those things that you hate about yourself and about what you really believe about life and about your next door neighbor, you don't want to admit it. So you stuff those things down and you pretend everything is just great on the outside. So, in order to feel great on the outside and to get rid of that guilt we feel, we have to project it onto other people. So this is a really helpful psychological thing to know. But anytime anybody gets mad, it's because they're blaming somebody else for something. And why are they blaming somebody else? It's to give them guilt. It's to make them feel bad about what they've done. And, moreover, it's to get rid of your own guilt. If someone does something ridiculous to you, it's pretty easy to say, stop being ridiculous, I hate you, and you should feel terrible about yourself. But if you understand the way God's law of creation works, you know that you're creating your own life. And that's a very important concept to understand. And I'll get more in depth on that later on. But if you understand that you're creating your own life, then you also have to understand that every time you get angry, you're denying your own responsibility for what happens in your life. When you get angry, you're pushing away guilt and blaming somebody else. Every time you get angry, every single time. Even if you roll your eyes at somebody, even when you very quietly judge people for the clothes they wear, for the way they look, for whatever reason, all of that is just an attack to make somebody else guilty, even if you're not consciously making them guilty, even if you're just thinking about them being inferior to you, you're projecting guilt onto them. You're saying you should be ashamed for wearing that shirt, that dress, for combing your hair that way. You should be ashamed. You're an idiot. And now I feel better about myself because I've obviously solved the world's problems. And that doesn't last, so you have to do it again and again, and then you have to do it again until you realize after 200 lifetimes that it really isn't getting you anywhere and it doesn't work and you're still a mess and your life is still a mess because you are still refusing to take responsibility for everything that happens to you without exception. So one of the things that if you think about it, is that a lot of people want to become enlightened so that this world will change and the world will be full of enlightened people. And then we can really start to create and have fun here. But all the evidence points away from that for one simple reason. Waking up here, which is enlightenment, and a lot of people don't like that word because they think it means something that it's what they do in India, or it's what they do if you're still wearing beads and tie-dyed shirts and having long hair when you're 80 years old and chanting. Those kinds of, those people. They think enlightenment is a bad thing, or it's just something that's so absolutely ridiculous and something that's not even mentioned in any religion, like Christianity especially, that it's not even worth thinking about. But enlightenment means waking up. And if you think that waking up means that this world is going to be full of all of these enlightened people, well, you're wrong. Because once you wake up, you're out of here. Nobody wants to be here after they wake up because they can see the difference. They can see that this life, this earth, is a mess. And that being awake in God is so much more creative and so much more fun and so much more wonderful all the time. And now there are people called bodhisattvas, and traditionally that has meant somebody who's enlightened and still returns in another incarnation for the purpose of helping other people to wake up. And that might happen a couple times. It doesn't matter. Or there are enlightened people who still come back because they still have more of that enlightenment process to go through. In any event, enlightened people are always available. They're just not in bodies. And they don't stick around here. They don't want to be here because being in a body when you're enlightened is not exactly what you want. So the purpose of life is to get out of here. When you hear people talking about being enlightened so that you can finally come into your full creativity, well, that's true, but so what? It's so much better to come into your own creativity when you're not limited by a body. We think this earth, this world, this universe is just so important and so great. It's not. Get over it. Start letting go of it. Stop hanging on to all of these little things that make you believe that this is important. Let's stop mourning people who died 50 years ago. Let's stop memorializing everything on this planet and trying to pretend that life would be better if those people were still here. Nothing happens by accident. Nobody's gone before their time. Nobody's gone who isn't supposed to be gone by their own choice. It just doesn't happen on a conscious level. The choices that we make in life are based on our subconscious minds, for the most part. And that's something important to understand. Okay, I'm going to switch and go into another subject next. So this is a little bit of a shorter talk, and that's probably good. So I'll talk to you later.